A white Chevrolet Silverado drove past an acupuncture clinic just before sunset. 24 hours later, police would be calling it the center of a murder investigation. John Satoshi Tokahara was born on February 13, 1974, in Honolulu, Hawaii. He grew up with his parents, Walter and Lily, and his sister Lee. After graduating from Waipahu High School, he moved to Oregon to attend the University of Portland, earning a bachelor's degree in biology. He went on to complete a master's degree in Chinese medicine and acupuncture at the Oregon College of Oriental Medicine. Eventually, he returned to Hawaii and opened his own practice, Tokahara Acupuncture and Healthcare, in Waipahu. John never married but dated a number of women over the years, including several who were already married, something that earned him more than a few enemies in his community. Another central figure in this story is Eric Thompson. Born in 1987 in Hawaii, Eric began dating a fellow student named Joyce in 2003 while they were in high school. 14 years later, on February 14th, 2017, they finally married. Eric earned a biology degree and later built a successful high-end bathtub renovation business. He and Joyce lived comfortably in a $1.6 million home and were trying to start a family, though they faced challenges. In 2019, Joyce went to see John Tokahara for fertility treatment and relief from back pain. On June 9th, 2020, she gave birth to a daughter, Emma. After the birth, she struggled with low mood and returned to John for more acupuncture sessions. It was during this period that she and John began an affair, something John was quite accustomed to. They communicated through John's Instagram account, where Joyce was his only follower. Between May and July 2021, they exchanged thousands of messages, including intimate photos. They frequently discussed their affair, and Joyce told John she feared her husband would eventually uncover it. John wanted a long-term relationship, but Joyce made it clear she wasn't leaving Eric, even though she wanted the affair to continue. In July 2021, Eric noticed suspicious activity on his home's video surveillance system, which led him to discover the affair. He was understandably angry. Joyce told John through Instagram that Eric had found out and that everything had to stop. Their last message was exchanged on July 23, 2021. On August 22, 2021, Joyce attempted to FaceTime John, but he didn't answer. It appeared their connection had fully ended. Months later, in December 2021, Joyce signed a postnuptial agreement that granted Eric ownership of everything, including their home and full custody of Emma, should they divorce. She had a habit of consulting psychics, and Eric later claimed Joyce told him a psychic instructed her to have the affair with John. She also agreed she would stop seeking advice from psychics altogether. On January 12, 2022, John's mother Lily texted him, asking him to pick up dinner at her house after work. At 6:12 p.m, John sent her a message, his last. He never arrived to pick up dinner. Lily texted him again at 8:34 p.m. and at 9:32 p.m, asking if he was okay. He never responded. The next morning, January 13th, Lily went to his office around 8 a.m. She noticed John's white Toyota Tacoma parked outside. She entered through the back door and found John unresponsive on the floor with blood around his head. She immediately left the building and called 911. Police arrived at 8:11 a.m. Investigators discovered that John had been shot several times in the face. 3 spent .22 long rifle casings were found at the scene, suggesting the use of a semi-automatic firearm, though nothing more about the weapon was immediately known. A backpack near John's body contained $3,900 in cash. John might have had a gambling habit, which could explain why he carried so much cash. His phone was unlocked at 6:18 p.m. on January 12th, and no activity occurred after that. That was 6 minutes after he sent his final text to Lily. Surveillance video showed a white 4-door Chevrolet Silverado crew cab driving within 140 feet of John's clinic at 5:57 p.m. on January 12th. The truck turned east, then north, and at 5:58 p.m. it moved out of camera view near an intersection roughly 600 feet northeast of the office. At 6:10 p.m., a person appeared on video walking toward the office from that intersection. The individual wore dark clothing, sunglasses and a white bucket hat, and carried a large brown paper shopping bag with handles. They approached the front door, which stayed locked, paced briefly as though unsure of what to do, then walked around to the back of the building where the office's rear entrance was located. At 6:15 p.m, the person entered the office. Just 48 seconds later, they exited, still holding the paper bag, and walked back the way they came. About 250 feet from the office, the white bucket hat fell off. The person didn't bother picking it up and kept walking. At 6:20 p.m, they reached the intersection 600 feet away and disappeared from view. A minute later, the same white Silverado appeared in the camera frame near that intersection, suggesting that the person seen on foot was likely the driver. A homeless man later picked up the bucket hat from the street. No other individuals were caught on video entering or leaving John's office until Lily arrived at 8 a.m. the next day. Police concluded that the unknown individual was responsible for John's death. They located the homeless man, retrieved the hat, and submitted it for DNA testing. As investigators reviewed John's phone, they found the Instagram account he used to message Joyce. This immediately put Eric Thompson on their radar due to the obvious motive. When questioned, Eric claimed he was dropping off bricks at a dump during the time of the murder, and then went to a drugstore where he made a cash purchase. Police could not confirm his movements. On February 14, 2022, 34-year-old Eric Thompson was arrested on suspicion of a murder. His first trial took place in the summer of 2023. On August 4th, it resulted in a mistrial after the jury failed to reach a unanimous verdict. The split was 9-3 in favour of guilt.
The tragedy has really brought the community together, I think, in Waipahu. And so, the community, our friends, everybody has just rallied together and shown so much support for the family.
He's an acupuncturist, and so he's a healer, and he's helped so many people in the community.
He had friends in so many different circles, and he was just someone that was just loved. He gave back to his community, gave scholarships.
He's all about the people. He's all about the community. And you guys, he just stripped that away. But now he's going to take the love we have for him or the love he had for us away. God bless us all.
Eric was retried in early 2025. On February 25th, he was convicted of second-degree murder and use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. On June 27th, 2025, he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years